All right, good morning, traders. Today is March 9th, 2026. My name is Coach Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody, podcast land, digital land, cyber land. Thank you so much for liking, subscribing, following, and being a part of my social media. Appreciate that. Love that. Thank you so much. Special shout out Bob Jordan, John Jordan, Kathy, Sarah Roasted, everybody that shares the content, helping get the good word out there to the World Wide Web. Appreciate that. Thank you. All right, let's take a look at the markets. What happened yesterday? Friday. Let's take a peek at what's going on there. So my SPY pivot this morning, 674. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. IWM, QQQ, Diamond Dow, SPY all made lower highs, lower lows, closing under bearish traps under their 17 EMAs. FNGU, Stinker, made a lower high, lower low, closing inside a bullish trap over the flat 17. SPY closed with a 2-hour downtrend and a 10-minute downtrend. Gold made a higher high, higher low, not very much high, but higher high, higher low, closing over a bearish trap over the flat 17. Silver made a higher low and a higher high, closing inside a bearish trap and under the flat 17. USO made a big high flyer there, made a new 7-year high. UNG made a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the flat 17. US dollar index still in a daily uptrend, closed near the 98.86 area. SPY max pain for today, 681 with a put to call ratio of about 1.5 puts for each call that expires today at 4:15. The main events this week will be CPI on Wednesday at 8:30 in the morning, and the delayed GDP report on Friday at 8:30 in the morning. If this is your first time seeing this, all of these are in bullish daily uptrends over the 17 EMA. All of these are in bearish daily downtrends under the 17 EMA. If they got a little star next to it, they're building out a bear flag, otherwise called a platform from which to dive lower. So we'll see what happens with those. Okay, so these are, over the 17, under the 17. All right, let's take a look at the markets this morning. Actually, we'll take a look at what happened on Friday. As you can see, they spent a lot of time right here, right at this level, and they could not penetrate it. They tried to ratchet it up higher here, and then they tried again, and then they tried 2 or 3 times. They stayed here for quite some time right here at 675, and they still couldn't get it. They still couldn't pass up above this consolidation right here. So there was a very strong chance price was going to roll over today, and it did. It rolled over hard all the way down to probably in the overnight action close to 660 area, 661. That's for SPY. So on the 10-minute chart, we leave off with 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. You got the 3 and the sticks underneath the 8 EMA, all 3. The sticks, the 8, the 3 underneath the 17. On the 2-hour chart, we got the sticks and the 3 riding underneath the 8. All 3 of them riding underneath the falling 17 right there. Okay, so there's SPY on the 2-hour. On the daily chart, we've got lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap, closing under the 17. Still up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish up there. But we are in a downtrend because we made some lower highs and we made a lower low. So here's the origin of our rally right back here in April, and it moves it right up to there. So we're still up in quadrant 4, so we're still bullish. But I got to tell you, probably going to roll over, start testing some of these lows over here. Maybe this one, maybe this one, maybe even this one, maybe even a new one, maybe around the 600. We'll see what happens. So there's SPY on the daily chart. On the weekly chart, I'm just going to hit a new one up. And I'm going to put the quad lines on that one. All right, so on the weekly chart, you can see here's our April origin of our rally. Price goes up over to the right, so we're still up here in quadrant 4, so we're still bullish. All right, and we'll probably be bullish till we take out this tail right here that pokes below the 17. So this is bullish and in an uptrend. All right, for SPY on the weekly chart, so bigger time frame, still bullish. Monthly chart, still bullish and in an uptrend on the monthly chart. Let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ on the 10-minute. 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. 2-hour downtrend. The sticks in the 3 are riding underneath the 8. 2-hour downtrend coming into the close. On the daily chart, we've got lower high, lower low, just like SPY. Closing underneath a bearish cross, closing underneath the falling 17, closing underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP, closing underneath this uptrend line right here. Still up in quadrant 4, so we're still bullish, but we're still in a downtrend. Okay, we got a low here. We made lower lows. We got a lower high and a lower low right here on QQQ. So daily chart is still bullish because we're in the upper third, but we're rolling over, okay? So we're in a downtrend currently. That's QQQ. Weekly chart, still bullish and in an uptrend. Monthly chart, still bullish and in an uptrend. See all those green dots right there? Okay, so that's QQQ. Let's take a look at IWM. So IWM on the daily, lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap. Under the 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Still up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish, but also in a downtrend in that we got a lower high, and we made a lower low. So downtrend on IWM. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. You have audio problems, or could you... Please refresh. Oh, okay. All right. So there we are with Diamond Dow. So we are lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap under the 17. It's a rolling 17, falling 17 underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. So we're still bullish on Diamond Dow, but we're definitely in a downtrend. If we break below the lower third, we'll be back in neutral territory. So currently, Diamond Dow is bullish, but in a downtrend because it made a lower high and a lower low there on Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at Stinker. Stinker got a lower high and a lower low, closing inside a bullish trap. And over the flat 17, still down here in quadrant 3, so it's neutral. It still has not made a higher high and in a downtrend. Currently underneath the midpoint, currently underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP, currently underneath the all-time low anchored VWAP. So there's Stinker on the daily chart right there. Okay, let's take a look at silver, oil, and gold. Silver. Silver got a higher low and a higher high. We closed inside a bearish trap, but under the flat 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Still not in the upper third, so it's neutral. And in a downtrend, they've got a high. They put in a low here. They got a lower low, so they're in a downtrend. That's silver. Let's take a look at gold. Gold, same deal. Higher low, higher high. Closing over a bearish trap, closing over the 17 in the middle of quadrant 4. That's bullish, but still in an uptrend on gold. So gold bullish and in an uptrend. USO, this is going to be easy. All right, so USO put in a 7-year high. Where it is right now, probably give us a new 8-year high. But that's a new 7-year high right there for USO on the daily chart. You can back out on the weekly chart. You can see the last time we were up there was right back here. And way before COVID. So last time we were up here was back in 2019. Okay, so there's 6 years, and add another one that's 17, 7 years, right there. There's USL. Let's take a look at UNG on the daily chart. So you can see here's our 12-month high anchored VWAP, the pink line. Price action currently down here in quadrant 1, so that's bearish. We have not made any higher highs, so we're still bearish and in a downtrend until we can make a higher high. We'd have to get up over this number right here, which is $14. So we'll see what happens. So there's UNG on the daily chart, still bearish and in a downtrend. Let's take a look at technicals, T2101, T2101. And the market dipped lower on Friday, and participation is increasing. So not a good sign for the markets at all. All right. T2101, T2122. T2122, we spent the day in the oversold zone, so not too good for the bulls. The bears definitely have some control here. So that's T2122, 15-minute chart. T2123, 15-minute chart. We're in a downtrend, all right, because we got a low. We made a lower low. Haven't made any higher highs. So T2123, 15-minute in a downtrend underneath this flat 200 SMA. Okay, if I'm a bull, I want to be above it. If I'm a bear, I want to be below it. Well, obviously, bears are getting what they want right now. Let's take a look at the 3-bar chart. This is still bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, we don't have any lows to report here other than that low that spikes below the 17. I guess you could call that a low. So T2123 now in a downtrend, making there's a low and there's a high, now making a lower low. So T2123 on the 3-bar chart now in a downtrend. They got a low right here that pokes through the 17 EMA. Bearish gap down. Bulls never filled the gap on T2123. So there we are on that one. FNGU on the stinker. On the 15-minute chart, we've got for Friday's action, we've got let's see, we've got a high. I don't know. Looks like we made a higher high. Not for certain. Okay, so that's a higher high. So there's an uptrend. This does not make, and then we left off. We've got a low, and we made a lower low. So now we've got a downtrend. So FNGU on the 15 is in a downtrend as we close out on Friday. Okay, still up over that hooking 200 SMA. That's bullish sign, but you can see still underneath this all-time high anchored VWAP. So a lot of work still needs to be done for FNGU. On the US dollar index, we're still, I'm going to pan out here. This is the 2025 high. We come down and we're in a bear flag. Currently, in this bear flag, we have a daily uptrend in that price action made, there's a low. They made a higher low, and then there's a high, and they made an equal high there, and then a higher high. So they are currently, this is down here in this area here, so it's in a bear flag, so still bearish, but currently in an uptrend on the US dollar index. Let's take a look at the game plan for each of those. All right, let's take a look at the game plan right here with the pre-market on for QQQ and SPY. So let's start with SPY. And you can see we've got consolidation under prior consolidation, so that's a bearish bias for me. We did kind of gap a little bit far, quite a bit far. They tried to break out here. They tried here and failed. So we very well may roll over and come down here, check these 600 level later in the day. We'll see. If you look up above, I got AI has some levels here that I wanted to share with the traders so that you can see it. I posted it right up here. Okay, so Support level 1, 669. Support level 2, 666.40. And support level 3, 663. So we'll see where we are. We're right here at 666. So there is some support there at 666, 666.40. Okay, so they're currently underneath that right now. They got to climb up on top of that. We'll see if they get that done. So there's SPY. My pivot this morning, all right, 674. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Green erases red over 678. Red erases green under 669.65. Okay, now remember we got in down here all the way down to around 660 overnight. So we'll see how this plays out. But I think there's still some more downside, but I don't think there's going to be any today. All right, not till the end of day. All right, I trade Friday options on the multiple of 5, specifically for the open interest, and I like strikes $2 to $15 out of the money. Number 1 for the price point, number 2 for the less risk. All right, I trade 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I trade 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Let's take a look at QQQ. They got a game plan as well. QQQ pivot 601.70. Same thing on price action for QQQ. They have price action in the pre-market, mostly contained well underneath the price action that we left off with on Friday. So there's QQQ. Got a green erases red entry up here over 606. Red erases green underneath 597.70. Same thing on QQQ game plan. I like 4 days and 11 days till expiration Friday options on the multiple of 5, specifically for the open interest, because I don't like to stop out pretty often. That makes it hard to book, to put together a string of gains if you're getting stopped out. So for that reason, I like these because they got less risk. Those out of the money options that are $2 to $15 out of the money. I trade 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Look at the economic calendar this morning. You can see right here, nothing going on today. Tomorrow we're going to have, looks like NFIB, Small Business Optimism Index, existing home sales at 10, and that's it. And then Wednesday we got CPI at 8:30 in the morning. We've got a petroleum report at 10:30, and that's it for Wednesday. And we'll tackle Thursday and Friday as we get closer. Max Pain for today is, hoping they didn't change it. So Max Pain today, what did say 681 is 675, and the put to call ratio of about 1.6 puts for each call that expires today. Okay, so that's on Max Pain for SPY. Let's take a look at the earnings calendar, see if there's anything there. And there we go. All right, some familiar names, but nothing here that's going to move the markets, not on Monday. Got about $439 billion, all right, going to report for Oracle tomorrow night. Okay, that's that could be a market mover. Okay, that looks very bullish, those numbers there. We'll see what happens. All right, and then we've got on Wednesday, we've got a lot of familiar names, but nothing here that's going to move the markets for us. Okay, so you can see up here, this is our secondary and support levels that I had posted up here. You can see secondary support 663, support number 2 is 666, and support number 1 669.70. So we'll see how high they want to climb up with that. All right, give me a few minutes. We'll come back. We're going to open up the markets here, and I'll be looking for some puts. All right, probably some puts with a little bit more time on it. I think if the market wants to come down, they might come down in a hurry. So I want to have something that's going to protect my family, protect whatever else I got in the truck bed. So let's just kind of be careful with that. All right. So we got a lot of volatility happening this morning. So I'll see everybody in about 5-10 minutes.